Hi everybody. In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can run Bitcoin knots with electrs in a Dockerized environment. So I spent this weekend upgrading my Bitcoin node from Core 28.1, I believe, to the newest version of Bitcoin knots. And I did that simply because I don't agree with what Bitcoin Core is doing with their latest update in Core version 30. So I went ahead and I decided to make this into a Docker project and share it with everybody here. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can set this up. Let's show you what it does first. So once you start this Docker project, you have a Bitcoin service running, and that's going to be running Bitcoin knots. And then you have an Electrum service running too. So that's going to be used to connect Sparrow Wallet when you get around to that. And all the data right now is just going to get saved here in these folders, Bitcoin data and Electrs data on the host machine. And you could set them through the environment variable or through the environment file. What's really nice about this is that I can copy this project to like my main PC, or not my main PC, but like my main node PC that I'm running at the other side of my house. I can basically just download this project, change the end file here, and I could just have it work. So I could be saving my block data to like an external SSD by just changing the paths here. So it's very, very useful. And in this video, I'm going to show you how you can set this up. This is slightly complicated or slightly more complex. We are going to be using Docker. So this is mainly dedicated for developers and other people out there that are familiar with this tool. So let's go ahead and get into the setup. So first things first, let's go ahead and clone this project to the machine that we want to run it on. So here from GitHub, I'm going to click code and I'm going to grab the SSH URL and I'm going to clone this Git project to my local machine here. So let's go ahead and let's create a temporary directory for this. Oops. And then in this directory, let's clone that Git project. Okay, so we have the Git project here. And let's go ahead and open it in a viewer. That way we can actually look at the code. Okay, so here's our bare project. And I have everything documented here in the README, but we're just gonna do it because, I mean, I think it's easier if I just show you how to do it than go over a README. Okay, so let's make this bigger. And the first thing that we're gonna wanna do is we're gonna want to create our own environment file here. So let's go ahead and just copy and paste that, rename it to just .env. And then let's just start with these, let's use these Bitcoin data paths or these default Bitcoin data and electrs data path just to get this going. And then you can set this up however you need to in your own machine. So for your main machine, I do recommend if you have like an external SSD provided, you basically mount that to your system and then you provide that mounted path. So that's how I use it on my other machine, but here I'm just going to keep it very simple. So let's go ahead and let's create these folders. So do Bitcoin data and oops and electrs data. Okay. Now we need to provide a Bitcoin conf file. So I do have an example one here. Let's go ahead and copy and paste it. And let's do the same thing. Let's just rename it to Bitcoin conf. And these are the defaults of our Bitcoin file. So we're just going to leave this as is. We're going to try it and we're going to see what happens. So let's just go over what's supposed to happen when we run the Docker Compose. So when we run Docker Compose up build, we're basically running these two main services. We could collapse these so you could see them better. We have our Bitcoin D service and our Electr service. Let's start with the Electr service because this is an easier one. Electr service just gets the image from the cloud somewhere. I think this is on Docker Hub. And it then maps the volumes with what we set in our environment file here. And it just starts Electrs looking for the Bitcoin service, and it uses cookie authentication. So super simple. Oh, and then we're mapping our host machine's port 50,001 to the internal 50,001. So that would allow us to connect Sparrow to port 50,001 of our local host machine and be able to access this Electrs service. So anyways, the Bitcoin D service is a bit more complex just because it uses the build context to create the image. So if you notice, we don't have an image file or we don't have an image field. Instead, we have a build field. So we're building from this context, which is going to be this Docker file. And then we're just exposing, the ports that we need to access it to our local machine. And then we're also using our environment file to set our volume mapping and user and group IDs. So what the Docker file does is we're using a Debian base image. We're installing all the essentials, and then this is the Bitcoin Knots stuff here. So you type in the Bitcoin Knots version, the URL, and the SHA-256 sums and the SHA-256 signature URLs. And I got all these from the Bitcoin Knots website. Just go to let's go to Bitcoin Knots. And then I basically just got the URLs from here, from this guy here. You can see the URL here at the bottom. So I just got that. And then I did the same thing for the digital fingerprints, digital signatures. And when we're verifying our signers, I got our signers from what it says right here. It says use this repository to get all the signers of the signature file. So that's pretty much what we're doing with this Docker file. We are getting the packages from the Bitcoin Knots website here by the Bitcoin version. So we're getting the Bitcoin package, we're getting the SHA-256 sums file and the SHA-256 sums signature file. So in case you forgot, the relationship between the sums and the sums signature file is the SHA-256 sums URL. It contains a list of hashes of what these binaries should yield. So to verify the authenticity of the SHA-256 sums file, we're going to make sure that it was signed via the SHA-256 sums signature file by one of the keys that we expect. So basically the keys of the developers. And we could get those keys of the developers with this step here. So first we download all the packages. Then we get all the keys of all the developers and we import them to our GNU PG tools, which is a brand new, which is new, right? Because we just created this image. And then we're verifying that the SHA-256 sums package was signed and it was not tampered with this step here. And then we're going to verify that the SHA-256 of the binary that we downloaded matches one of the ones that's inside the file, and it will fail if it doesn't find it. So once we verify that it was signed properly, then we go ahead and we begin installation and just setting it up. Before we run it, we set the entry point here because we're going to run everything through the entry point script. So what this entry point script does is first it pulls the bitcoin.conf and it copies it to the system. So in that way, we can update the Bitcoin conf here and it'll automatically change every time we Docker up build. So it's very, very useful. So anyways, let's go ahead and get this running and see what happens. So I'm running docker compose up -- build, and we're going to see that the Bitcoin blocks is starting to fill up. Electrs data is starting to fill up as well. So it looks like it's working. This is kind of odd though that Electrs is waiting, but I think it might be waiting because, I mean, we just started a new Bitcoin service here, so the block data is still syncing. So maybe Electrs is waiting for that. So this might be totally normal. But I was having an issue earlier today or yesterday, and I wanted to show you what it is before I forget. So my issue was that Electrs was unable to communicate with my Bitcoin node. And I think we're just not seeing that issue right now because Bitcoin is not synced all the way. But what I had to do was I had to update the bitcoin.conf, the RPC allow file, or the RPC allow IP line here. So the default is the default Docker network, but it's possible that your container is not running on the default network and you need to update this. So how do you find the network that you're running on? I like to open up a command line, type in docker network ls, find the relevant one, and this is the one right here. And then let's inspect it. So let's go docker network inspect and the name. And then once you type that in, you could find the subnet. So this is 172.23. So I'm going to copy this, and this is what's going to go here. So that should fix your Electrs connection issues if you do happen to see them. So anyways, I'm not going to sit here and let the whole blockchain download. I just don't have that kind of time. and I don't have that kind of space here anyways. But anyways, drop a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.